Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce you to the Portal for Affordable Credit and Interest Subvention Access, or PESA. This portal is not just a platform, it's a catalyst for transformation, processing interest, subvention, and revolving funds for self-help groups and area-level federations. The portal will now also process interest subsidy and cashback incentives under PM Swanidhi. I request Shri Hardeep Singh Puri, sir, to launch the refreshed PESA portal with enhanced features. I warmly welcome Shri Hardeep Singh Puri, sir, and request him to address the gathering, please.
Let me start at the very beginning. And the thought that struck me when I was coming here is that the fact that we are having a seminar on grievance redressal, or the grievance, or that we are addressing the issue of grievance redressal is in and of itself a very big achievement, that we are having a national seminar of this kind. Why do I say this? I remember since the time that I used to go to school in New Delhi, typically the people who plied their wares as street vendors, whether they were outside schools, in congested urban areas. Secretary was telling us that on Kartavya Path on a particular weekend, I think you had 300,000 people. And then I, of course, impromptu asked how many street vendors. He said 5,000. I think it may be even more. No matter where I go, street vendors have both a presence and they have a role to play, and they make a contribution. Why do they make a contribution? They are bringing goods and services to your doorstep. You know, much before you had this benefit of ordering online, etc., this was our desi way of having those, whether it's fruits and vegetables or it's, street food, etc. So there's a culture. But the way we have developed, and I'm not pointing an accusing figure at somebody, those people who at the level of the local authorities felt that they had a right to displace, create hurdles. I shouldn't use words, but, take advantage. I'm using the mildest of the words that comes to my idea. So the start of this was the 2014 Act. And I think the 2014 Act was doing reasonably well, but along came the pandemic. And I think the Honorable Prime Minister's decision to do something for this most vulnerable section of our urban population. I'm not saying the others were not vulnerable, but somehow the form of employment they had, that kept them somehow, some earning was there. But when the economic lockdown came, the most vulnerable were the people who had to literally close shop. So I think people who live in constant fear of eviction face harassment at the hands of local authorities. It is very important. Now, according to the Act, I'm talking about the 2014 Act, states and urban union territories are required to constitute one or more committees for the redressal of grievances and resolution of disputes. So far, only 17 states have constituted such committees. So I think one of the major and tangible advantages and pluses that will flow from this seminar is that a very powerful message will go to those states who have somehow delayed the formation of such grievance redressal committees. Why is this an important platform? Because an effective grievance redressal mechanism also helps build trust. These GRCs have the potential to foster a more inclusive and supportive environment. They can play a critical role in ensuring fair treatment, resolving disputes, and upholding rights of street vendors as per the 2014 Act. Now, I'm very happy to find that under the Act, the government of the Honorable Prime Minister has facilitated the formation of 4,342 town vending committees, demarcating 13,403 vending zones, constructing 1,315 vending markets, and issuing 38.06 lakh certificates of vending. I also just want to briefly mention that the aim of PM Swanidhi Yojana was to provide Swarozgar, Swavlambam, Swabhiman, that is self-employment, self-sustenance and self-confidence to street vendors. Now I have Arvind Singh ji, another important office bearer sitting here. I can tell you with confidence that since this act came into being, it was rolled out very quickly, loans are being handed out, I see definite change in the confidence level of the street vendors also. Because today, whether a state has established a grievance redressal committee or not, I don't think it is any longer possible, thanks to the Prime Minister's timely and effective intervention, for anyone to extend or behave in a high-handed manner with these people. Because they have an identity. I think the political system has given them respect, which is not to say that there can be excesses on either side, but they cannot be. Everybody has to work within a certain defined decorum. Insofar as the street vendor scheme is concerned, everybody knows we got approval in May 2020, 23rd May, where within a week we issued the guidelines and the first sanction of loan was done within 2 months. Now today, street vendors not only have an identity, but the scheme has also led to an unprecedented wave of financial inclusion and digital literacy. अब मैं आपको कुछ statistics बताता हूँ. Whilst our aim is to benefit 75 street vendors, we are currently implementing it in more than 4,600 urban local bodies. Now that's a pretty impressive pan-India figure. Number of loans sanctioned so far, 81.54 lakhs. Number of disbursed, very close, 76.90 lakhs. Rupees 10,156 is the amount of money disbursed, crores. Total beneficiaries, as Secretary was saying, 58.33 lakhs. 43% of the beneficiaries are women. That's a very impressive figure. Cabinet approves the extending of this scheme till December 2024. Similarly, if I go to SC, ST, OBC category, these are very impressive figures. Now, the contribution of the street vendors to the national economy, I don't know if a quantification has been done, but I think it will be very impressive. If you look at not only the overall amounts, I don't know how you calculate this, because unless they are all onboarded onto the digital economy, but even then, because as the number of digital transactions is increasing, I still think, and this is where I think this seminar can make a seminal contribution, we need to get more and more of that done without the use of cash. Now, I know it's going to take time, but we made a very impressive beginning. I was calculating the total number of transactions and dividing it between the number of this thing. We have scope for improvement there. The other thing which I was looking at is that as we go forward, and this is something that Arvind Singh ji and I discussed when he very graciously invited me to the that street vending food fair. Dekhiye, no matter where you go in the world, you have cities which have no presence of street vendors, they are dull cities. I'm not saying every city must have too many street vendors, I'm not saying that, but within whether it's a weekly market or within defined spaces, because the street vendors bring you a quality of a product without layers of middlemen, etc. I, in fact, even recommended that five-star food hotels which advertise street food. I mean, well, some of them do a good job, but I think it's better to go to the street vendor direct. But that requires, as I gave the example of Southeast Asia, hygiene standards to be absolutely prioritized. Number two, and this is most important, I think what you did in terms of the zero waste, that has to become a norm, not a one-time thing. Because I still am, I must confess, again I choose my words carefully, I think we have a lot of work to do. Because unless this habit is inculcated, that wherever you set up your trade for the day, you must also clean up there. Because the local authorities will otherwise, the urban authorities will have a basis on which to, because if you do that, you complete your work and then you leave the place in a litter, this thing, apart from the Joint Secretary of the Swachh Bharat Mission, you know, overall getting a heart attack, even the local authorities, everybody around the line is going to be, and therefore you create a level of tension between the street vendor and the local. So I think hygiene, zero waste, and I think what you have decided in terms of skill upgradation and training, you mentioned to me the other day two institutes, places. One was, I think, Patna, and the other is Delhi for these training. You've already trained, I think, 1.5 lakh people. This is the figure Arvind Singh ji gave me. I think you can increase that. And you will get, I'm sure, not just the commercial sponsorship which comes from, Zomato and others, but you will find that the public acceptance of this also gets enhanced with all these things. So thank you very much. I think it's been, from what Joint Secretary was telling me, it's been a very good interaction, and some of the sessions have come up with good ideas. I'm not sure that coming as I do just to spend a few minutes with you, I can add to that, but I can tell you, and I don't need to say this as Singh, but Secretary and I accord the highest priority to these schemes. The other schemes, yeah, they are important, they're doing well, but I think this scheme is now literally at a takeoff point, and I think your 58.34 lakh beneficiaries, the number is ready to soar, but more than the number ready to soar, I think the quality of vending, the quality of goods and services offered, it's getting a much wider listing, and as we develop a new Bharat, as we go towards being a developed nation, I think we will be able to, when we advertise this fantastic infrastructure which is coming up, the street vending also and the kind of goods and services offered as part of the overall package. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We are honored to have had the opportunity to hear from such an esteemed speaker as yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now have an interaction between the Honorable Union Minister and State Mission Directors, Area Mission Directors, Project Officers, and GRC members. I would request Shri Ganga Balaya, retired District Judge and GRC Chairperson from Karnataka, to share his thoughts with the Honorable Union Minister. Can someone please hand him the mic?
I came from Karnataka. So, August discussion of the GRC committee is very good. some of the problems which have discussed here, it is enlightened to the other states to constitute the redressal committee. So many hurdles are there. We are already discussed the said aspect in this august body. So it is very useful to other states to constitute the redressal committee, Your Honor.